You know that dream of stepping out your back door to grab some fresh food for dinner? Well, today we're going to talk about how that idea of self-sufficiency isn't just for some huge farm out in the country. It's right there in your own backyard. Just take a second and look at this. You've got it all. The garden, a little chicken coop, a compost bin. This is what a modern homestead looks like. And yeah, it can totally be a reality right where you live.
Okay, but let's be real. It's easy to get kind of overwhelmed by all the options, right? Do you start with chickens, a garden? What's the deal with composting? That is exactly what this explainer is going to help you sort out.
Every great project, every great homestead, it all starts with a solid foundation. So let's kick things off with the two core projects that are going to create the resources you need for pretty much everything else.
It all starts with the soil. I'm telling you, composting is the absolute cornerstone of a sustainable homestead. You're literally taking stuff you'd throw away, kitchen scraps, yard trimmings, and turning them into this incredibly valuable resource. So why is it such a big deal? Well, first off, it makes your soil amazing. It also slashes the amount of garbage you send to landfill. Plus, it helps your garden hold on to water. And maybe best of all, you're making your own free top-shelf fertilizer. It's a win-win-win.
And getting it right is actually pretty simple. It just comes down to three things. 1, balance. You want more browns, like dry leaves and cardboard, than greens, which are your kitchen scraps. 2, moisture. Think damp sponge, not soaking wet. And 3, oxygen. Just turn the pile every week or two. That's it. That's the magic formula.
Okay, so now you're making all this amazing compost. Where does it go? Raised beds. They are the perfect answer. They let you build your garden from the ground up, giving you total control over what your plants are growing in.
And this is why they're such a game changer. Raised beds solve the biggest gardening headaches. God-awful clay-like soil, or maybe it's all sand. Doesn't matter anymore. You just fill the bed with the good stuff. They also drain way better, and you can build them to a height that really saves your back.
So, with that garden foundation in place, it's time to add some new layers of productivity. And this is where things really start to get interesting and work together.
Seriously, is there anything better than collecting your own fresh eggs for breakfast? Keeping a small flock of backyard chickens is, hands down, one of the most fun and rewarding steps you can take.
And here's where you start to see how a real homestead operates. Chickens are not just for eggs. They're your personal pest control squad. They go crazy for slugs. And their manure? It's an incredible super high nitrogen boost for that compost pile we just talked about. See? It's all connected. Now, before you run out and get some chicks, there are 3 absolute non-negotiables. First, please check your local laws and HOA rules. Second, make sure they have enough space to be happy and healthy. And third, you have to predator-proof everything with half-inch hardware cloth. Trust me on this one.
The next layer to think about is water. Harvesting rainwater is just a brilliant way to capture a totally free, natural resource that your garden plants will absolutely love, mainly because it doesn't have all the chlorine that's in most tap water.
To do it right, make sure you're using food-grade barrels. You don't want any nasty chemicals. A first flush diverter is also key. It washes that initial grime off your roof instead of sending it into your barrel. And always have a plan for overflow so you don't end up with a puddle against your house.
All right, this next step is where we level up. We're moving from just having separate projects to creating a true ecosystem, where all the pieces start working together, almost like magic.
So, take a fruit tree guild. Instead of just plopping a tree in the middle of the lawn, you surround it with a whole community of companion plants. They all work together. Some fertilize the soil, others attract pollinators, some even keep pests away. It creates this little self-sustaining system that needs way less work from you.
A fantastic smaller-scale version of this idea is an herb spiral. It's just a simple, beautiful little structure that packs a ton of different plants and functions into a tiny footprint by creating a bunch of different microclimates.
And here's the genius of it. The top of the spiral is sunny and dry, perfect for stuff like rosemary. But as water trickles down, the bottom stays more moist, which is exactly what plants like parsley love. You get a whole bunch of different growing zones in one tiny spot. And for the ultimate integrated system, you've got aquaponics. This combines raising fish with growing plants without any soil. The fish waste becomes the perfect food for the plants, and in return, the plants filter and clean the water for the fish. It's this beautiful symbiotic cycle. And the efficiency is just staggering. An aquaponics system can use up to 90% less water than regular soil gardening. Let that sink in for a second. 90%.
Whew! We have covered a lot of ground, right? From a simple compost bin to full-on aquaponics.
So now, let's bring it all back home and figure out the perfect first step for your journey.
Think of this slide as your personal roadmap. Just look at that complexity column. If you're just dipping your toes in, composting is a perfect low-stress entry point. Feeling a bit more ambitious? Maybe chickens are your next move. Or hey, if you want a real challenge with huge rewards, you can start looking at those high-complexity items like aquaponics.
But really, the most important thing to remember is this. It is not about doing everything all at once. It's about building your homestead one step at a time, season by season. So don't get overwhelmed. The single most powerful thing you can do is to just begin.
So look out at your own yard and ask yourself this question. What's my first harvest going to be? Will it be a handful of fresh herbs, a wheelbarrow full of rich compost, or that very first perfect golden yolked egg? The journey starts now.